Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Absolute Superman issue 19, written by Jason Aaron, with art by Rafa Sandoval, colours by Ulysses Areola, and letters by Becky Carey. The secret origin of Steel is revealed as months in the past, John Henry Irons is made to stay late at his job at the abattoir by his foreman, who reminds Irons of his sick mother he's supposedly caring for. The foreman wants him to go to the floor since the killing floor needs to get back online, and he hands Irons a hammer, telling him to get started the old-fashioned way with muscle and steel. As Irons heads down to the killing floor, he thinks about how at age 14 he developed a helmet that shot out an ultrasonic beam to incapacitate assailants safely, calling it the Peacemaker. But not long after that, men from Lazarus Corp came and made him sign a contract worth millions. Also, he would hand over the designs and copyright. However, he never made millions from this deal, and they ripped him off, forcing him to take a job at below minimum wage at a meat processing plant in Oklahoma. As John Henry approaches a cow and readies his hammer, he thinks about how he's supposedly living the American dream. Now, goddamn, what a way to open an issue. Just pure despair and grimness in the Absolute Universe. This is what the American dream is in the Absolute Universe, and that is probably kind of true for the real world as well. Aaron does a great job introducing us to this John Henry Irons and how he's a bit more of a blue-collar worker version. Now, usually Irons is kind of like a construction worker, but he's also, I think people know him maybe from the New 52 a little bit, where he was a scientist, more or less, a weapons manufacturer, and usually it changes here and there depending on the origin. Sometimes he is a construction worker, sometimes he is in weapons and gets, ousted by Armatech or something like that. But the one thing that usually stays the same is that he does have some form of like blue-collarness to him. Like he's a man of the people. And I like that. That's what Aaron is kind of bringing him back to here. He's just working a shitty job. He's just a guy who's also really smart, and he's trying to use that technology, in this case, to get revenge on the man who stole from him. But I'm intrigued to see what Aaron's going to do with him and whether he's going to keep those man of the people, champion of the oppressed things that he's been doing with Superman so well with John Henry Irons. Make him kind of live up to his namesake. In the present, Steel can't stop thinking about this moment where he would kill Ra's al Ghul for what he did to him and how he used John Henry's inventions to hurt innocents. But all of that is pushed to the back of his mind as Black Adam has risen from his grave, demanding to know how long he was left for dead. Superman and the others have no idea who this man is or what he's speaking, but Irons knows he's speaking Middle Egyptian, a language not spoken in over 4,000 years. Ra's says that he believed that he could control the Superman, but there is no controlling the King Shazam, hence why he had him locked away. Adam is overcome by sounds of the modern world, demanding to know what they have done to his world, and Superman steps in to try and calm him down and settle his hearing, but Adam punches Superman so hard that within seconds, Superman crash lands in Wyoming, over 1,100 miles away. Adam meanwhile demands to know who now rules and what has the world become since he was a slave. Ra's wants Talia to give him the father box and leave, knowing that he loved her to the best of his abilities, but Talia doesn't care, wanting him to focus on Steel, who despite the rather godlike power he just witnessed from King Shazam, is still intent on killing Ra's, trying to psych himself up to do it by remembering the screams of the cattle he killed and how it's now Ra's turn. Aaron keeping Ra's a beaten and broken man who has now accepted he was beaten and is trying to make amends for what he has done in the world is great. It's a really interesting take on Ra's al Ghul. I did like after the last issue kind of hinted that, maybe he will go back to like the way he was because Talia broke him out of prison. I like that it swerved back into, no, they're doubling down on him being kind of peaceful now and kind of looking to try and make the world a better place. As Steel tries to go in for the kill, Adam stops the altercation as he grabs Talia, who has the father box, which he knows belonged to the wizard's Brainiac. Ra's tries to calm things between them and Adam, revealing that he imprisoned him and if he lets Talia go, he'll do whatever he wants. We get a bit of a tease of Adam's background here and how after he took power from the Pharaoh, he himself became the new Pharaoh and it was all stolen from him by something. Ra's is well aware of Teth Adam's history thanks to the secret histories in the Hall of Justice, which if you remember is the home to this world's Justice League, which is made up of all of the heavy hitter villains like Mirror Master, Brainiac, Ra's al Ghul, and the Joker. Ra's says that Teth Adam ruled for all but 8 days, and that was some 3,000 years ago. Before Adam can react to the revelation, Raish is quick to tell him that those who enslaved him are long dead, but the world is still in darkness, a darkness that he helped perpetuate, and he is looking to amend that. Raish trying to pass on what he learned from Superman and, helping out where he can is really great. And I like that he's also not just doing a whole general be a good guy thing in general and trying to fix every problem. He's specifically trying to fix the problems he caused, which I really like. He's trying to own up to what he did and trying to be a better person and fix those problems. That's really cool. That's a really interesting take on that whole redemption of a villain where they're focused more on what they have done more so than the general, be a good guy thing. Raish's words ring hollow with Adam though, and he thinks the man is lying as he blasts Raish with his power, and in an instant, Raish is cut into several small pieces, falling down dead. Okay, so Raish dying was not on my bingo card at all. That really kind of came out of nowhere, and I love that that happened. That was such a shock. It was kind of like when Sam Lane died a couple of issues ago. That was also such a shock. Usually I'd be like, yeah, okay, the Lazarus Pit will bring him back to life. He'll somehow come back to life, but they made it a point to say all of the Lazarus Pits have been destroyed, Raish destroying the final one just last issue. But of course, there could also be a secret hidden one somewhere. Brainiac probably has something hidden away or something. But I think this might be it for Raish. I think it's a pretty definitive death, being cut into small pieces. It's not something he can, just throw all the pieces back into the Lazarus Pit and him come back, I don't think. It's very difficult to bring him back from that, which kind of sucks as well because, I really liked what Aaron was doing with Raish and kind of making him a man of peace, and he's trying to undo his wrongs and try to sort through what he did wrong and try to make amends for that in a way he feels comfortable with. It just felt like a really cool direction for Ra's al Ghul. But on the other hand, I really loved the suddenness of this and the fact that this is the Absolute Universe. Oh yeah, people can just die. We've just seen over in Absolute Batman, Jim Gordon just died as well. So I like that we have a universe where we can just do that and be like, oh yeah, no one is really safe in these universes. So that's really cool. Just kind of wish we got to see a bit more of Raish. Superman returns, seeing what Adam did to Raish, and he grabs the villain and blasts through every floor of the Lazarus building above them, screaming at Adam that he did everything to try and save Raish, and while he wanted to kill him badly, he didn't cross that line. A line Teth Adam just crossed. As he fights Superman, Adam remembers the prophecy of the Phantom Stranger and how she foretold of a being with eyes of fire amongst a cape made of the dust of his homeworld. He wonders who made Superman in his image, which really caught me off guard, but I kind of like it. Black Adam in, the main universe is very egotistical, and I like that Adam here is also really egotistical, so much so that he thinks that Superman was created in his image and based off of him, and finds him to be a cheap, inferior copy. They've been trying to always rise to that, Teth Adam of the past, but they never can quite get to it. I really like that. That's very much a classic Black Adam thing. He's got that big head about who he is and what his station is in the world, and Aaron working that in surprised the heck out of me. Adam smashes Superman back down through the building, calling him a cheap copy as Steel realizes that Raish has been killed, but he has to get out of the building before it completely collapses down on them. As Talia mourns her father for leaving her and Lois moves in for the kill of Talia, Superman sweeps in and rescues all of them, tying Talia up with a metal girder. Clark tells Lois not to remove the Signal Watch again since it's crystals that can help heal her wounds, which is a really cool feature of the Signal Watch. Usually it is just, a watch that emits a sound that only Superman or the Superman family can hear, but I kind of like the idea that it will have a bit more use in this universe. I like the idea that it's probably made out of the crystals from Superman's cape or from his fortress he's growing in the barn and Smallville. So I like that it could probably do some more things, could it make technology as well? Could it form into some sort of armor for these people who wear them? I'm really intrigued to see if we get to see any more of that, because that's something Aaron has been working in here and there with the Signal Watches and how Superman, Lois, and Jimmy all stay in contact with each other, and how Superman can find where Jimmy and Lois are, the two people who he really cares about. Clark quickly crushes Lois's gun and gives it back to her before blasting back up into the sky to face King Shazam, who is taking in the side of Metropolis around him. Superman, who has learned a little bit of his language at super speed, talks with Adam in his homeland's tongue, telling him that killing someone is against the law in this time. Adam, though, wonders why he hears so much screaming and agony if that's the case, and Adam thinks that killing is only wrong if people like him do it, and the world hasn't changed all that much. He tells Superman that how in his time he freed the slaves within 2 days of getting his power, and on the third he ended all war, and he could do the same for this time period, turning it into a paradise. I'm hoping Adam doesn't just kind of retread the story we got with Raish, another villain who thinks killing and ruling the world will help solve all the problems, and Superman has to best them, show them that there is another way. Kind of feels like we're going in that direction with Adam, since all of this stuff is pretty much what Raish was doing. I kind of understand where Aaron is coming from in that, it's kind of like a cyclical thing. Yeah, you beat one guy, the next one will just rise up and take his place. I kind of get that idea. It's like that never-ending battle that Superman has to fight, but I was kind of hoping for a little bit more to Adam in terms of what he wanted for the world. And I guess there's maybe that whole thing where he wants a paradise. Maybe he actually legitimately wants this, and this could be something like I was talking about with what they could do with Raish, where Raish still does all this stuff to try and help heal the world, but it's stuff that combats what Superman is trying to do, and that's how they clash. It's like an ideological clash. I could see them going that route with it, but so far it's just kind of a copy-paste of Raish. He just wants to rule the world, he thinks he's the right guy for it, and Superman has to die because Superman's in his way. Adam thinks that he was woken by mistake, and Raish was the one of the rulers of this world, and for his crimes he'll be reburied and forgotten again, just like he was when Raish found him. Superman knows that he won't allow that to happen, but Adam has already made up his mind and knows that he cannot let the rulers of this time carry on any longer. He wants to know who is the master that holds Superman's chain, as below, Steel begins to wonder how he got tangled up in all of these gods and monsters. Cops soon surround him, demanding he put the hammer down, and he tells them that he built the hammer in his car while he was living in it, as he activates his jet boots, blasting off into the sky and right at Adam and Superman. Again, I really like Steel reminding himself that he's just some dude amidst all of this weird stuff happening, and how him being prevented from killing Raish and actually getting to see, that death in front of him, kind of lifted that weight off of his shoulders, and now he just wants to save someone. He wants to save Superman. I like that unknowingly he's been put on the path of a hero. It's interesting. A man who wanted revenge now can look to be a hero for a change and be of some use to the world, because I think that's a big thing with this John Henry, especially with him telling the cops how he made the hammer. He wants that recognition. He wants people to know that, yeah, he is a smart man and he will use this technology to help them. And I kind of like that idea with John Henry, that he's yearning for that, the satisfaction, that praise. And I think he's going to find that as a hero. Steel slams his hammer at full speed into Adam's face. The three-way fight now blasting off across the world, going from Rio to Egypt to Gotham, where Batman watches the reign of the Superman begin. The little Batman cameo was cool. I didn't expect that, but I like that Bruce sees this thing streaking across Gotham City's skyline and just thinks, oh, what else now? What else is Jack Grimm sending my way? What eldritch horror is on my doorstep now? I just couldn't help but think about that. Fight eventually crash lands on a beach, erupting in a giant explosion, where Adam has beaten Superman, proclaiming that he fulfilled the prophecy and he has come back to break the chains of the world and free them. So I said before, Black Adam's plan is very much like Ra's al Ghul's plan, take over the world, make it in my image, that sort of stuff, rule the world. But I like it's the opposite in Raish's plan, where Raish wanted to kind of lock up the world and make it all Lazarus, make it all fall under his thumb. Black Adam has that thing where he wants to free it all, or so he says. That could definitely end, badly, a despotic ruler just replacing another despotic ruler. But I still feel it's way too similar to Raish's. I just hope there is that one other thing that we get in the next issue or so, where it just explains why he wants to really do this and what makes him different from Raish. Down the beach, Steel gets up, having survived the explosion. But before he can go and help in the fight against Black Adam, Hawkman arrives, demanding that he stand down. Steel refuses, and Hawkman readies for a fight, since he believes that this superhero thing has gotten out of hand. So I guess we're doing a big four-way fight, which I'm all for. I love the idea of Superman having to deal with an ancient being in Black Adam, a being who has bent the knee to the New World Order in Hawkman, and a new young hero who's just trying to figure it all out, much like how Kal was in the opening issues of this series. In that way, it really is the reign of the Superman. Each member represents one of the four Supermen who sprang up in the wake of Superman's death, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Aaron is going to do with all of that. Absolute Superman issue 19 fully introduced us to Black Adam, or King Shazam as they are calling him, and how he's kind of following the same path Superman took when he first came to the world, the downside being he's going the more villain route, which is something I'm not really liking at the moment since he's just kind of doing exactly what Raish was doing one arc before, where he's trying to take over the world, he's going to kill, Superman has to stop him, and there's that ideological clash about how to deal with problems of the world. Steel, on the other hand, proves to be a really interesting take on the character of John Henry Irons. I really like what Aaron is doing with him, a character who set out on revenge against Ra's al Ghul, only to realize that revenge was not worth it in the end, and maybe being a hero is, as a really cool iteration of the character, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him in the coming issues. I'm going to give this issue a 7.5 out of 10.